group. And we've got lots and lots of discussion going on over there. So that's a great place. You can find us in Disney Infinity and Beyond. Loads and loads of bits and pieces going on over there. So let's now just have a look here at our next. We had another 2 more stories that came through from a Game Informer, which we can pretty much just thank them for all the news at the minute, was the combat and also the lightsaber battles from Disney Infinity 3.0. There was a new game trailer showing off the Star Wars guys in action. So you had like Anakin, Ahsoka. Did I pronounce that right?
Ahsoka, yeah, you got it right, man. Good job.
Wow, that's a first. Also had Luke, and you also had Darth Vader and also Obi-Wan Kenobi, all in action. You got to see their sort of battles. You got to see all kinds of stuff. So I'm just going to bring up the screen there for you guys to look at.
Whoa.
What is that?
What is going on here?
No idea where that came from. Right. Okay. So let's have a look here. So we have Anakin fighting there. Some weird looking droids. They look like aliens. Do you know what droids they are?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they're actually. I don't remember the exact name, but these are droids that were introduced in the Clone Wars series.
I haven't got to that episode.
Yeah, they're towards the end of season 1. You'll start seeing them. They're not the heavy duty like assassin droids that they also introduced, but these guys are really fast. They're durable, like a deflected laser with a lightsaber will definitely not bring them down in the cartoon series. So.
I'm halfway through the Clone Wars at the minute of the first season, so I'm just trying to finish them off. We also had Ahsoka outside, so she looks like she's on Coruscant, and she's fighting the standard droids from the prequels. That looked pretty cool. It's quite interesting to see they got the different. So you got like the factory. Is it Geonosis?
Geonosis, yeah.
Yeah, oh, look, it's definitely they're all starting to go in. And then we got Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting a droid hacker or something. I don't know if that's quite
droid hacker.
Yeah, they're really big sort of droids with loads of guns and a shield. I always thought they were really cool in the Phantom Menace. Like they roll in and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan just leg it because they know it's too much of a battle for them.
Oh no, yeah, they're awesome, and actually, you get to unlock one in Star Wars Commander also later on. So they're awesome.
Also, we have Darth Maul attacking what looks to be 2 aliens. I can't quite place them myself. I don't know if they're just random aliens. Looks like he is on Tatooine.
For some reason, it kind of. I feel like they're random aliens from like a cantina, or one of them looks like a.
This guy looks like he's got a mask on or something.
Well, I was going to say the guy on the right looks like a bounty hunter almost.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
I'm really hoping we've got a lot more of enemies to use in this game because.
Oh no, yeah, that's something that they made very clear. Especially with the combat system, you don't want to just keep fighting every single same enemy. Depending on what lands you go to, they change, which is awesome.
And then we got Luke fighting the Stormtrooper, and he looks like he's on the Death Star.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've just got this vision there of one in the have a toy box where you open the door, you run in as Han Solo, and you've got like 1,000 stormtroopers just standing in front of you. And instead of running away, you go, "Nope, bring it on! I got a lightsaber."
One of the things that I'm actually probably the most exciting thing for me in this series is definitely going to be the new combat system. If you read deeper into it, obviously what they say in the Game Informer update, also in the actual magazine itself, they got pretty deep into it too, and it's really cool because it's no longer just button mashing. What it is, it's like all in the timing on how you push your button. Like for example, they were mentioning something about like let's say for the PlayStation remote, you hit the triangle for the attack. For the combo, you would hit it twice or 3 times for specific combos. Now you pause in between them, and you can pause in between the first or the first pair or the last 2 pair.
Yeah,
And
pausing mid-combo and holding down buttons will branch your attack off in a different combo direction, and the characters with control over the force can push and pull enemies in an impressive show of force.
yeah, so basically what I was getting into, what Roger just said, it leads to a different attack. It's not just like, let's say you reach the final attack. It's not just the final attack. You know, you can make them do something else. Like I'm sure it's in there too, where Anakin he gathers like pieces of droid or trash around, and he can actually throw that. Or the longer you hold and charge it, the bigger the pile will be. Or he can actually pull everybody at once and try to slice. Or he'll actually push one off or throw one into the air and slice them in half. It's all basically dependent on how you push the button or the combination of buttons. So it's great because, I mean, obviously they did mention that just for the standard kid who, you know, is not going to look into the whole combo thing. I mean, they can button mash all they want and it's still going to work. But for us, you know, gamers who really like the special moves, to really work it in the combination where you're really trying, I love the ability of having not just one attack, two attacks, three attacks, but a variety of attacks, and I can control them at any point. And that's really impressive in my opinion.
Well, actually, this week I decided to kind of go through and try and finish off a few of my games that I've got stored on and I was playing Injustice, the fighting game of all the DC superheroes. So it was kind of quite cool to have some different heroes and doing something different. And, you know, I am pressing pause, going in, looking down the list of all the different combinations and trying them out and trying to get the moves right and trying to do the finishes. And it reminds me of, you know, when I used to sit there with my Mortal Kombat and my Street Fighter manuals when I was on my Super Nintendo and trying to get the combo moves and stuff. Looking at like you're saying here with Disney Infinity is by adding, it might not be as complex as that, but there is going to be more options. Now, when you think back to what 1.0 was for combat, a shoulder block. It's just like, it doesn't even, you don't even feel like that's even could be this, it's not even like the same game. It's like taking Super Mario that could only jump in the first game and then popping him into Mortal Kombat. It's completely different.
It almost felt like in 1.0 everybody had the same attack except the Incredibles. Incredibles had the only ones that had like their own attacks, but everybody else, like in Monsters Inc., everybody did the same thing. Roar and you know, whatever. You know, it's interesting. But like, yeah, it's just a huge improvement. It kind of like correlates to, you know, obviously the driving a vehicle is going to be tighter and better. The combat system is going to be tighter and better. You're going to have more variety in controls and attacks. And you have to, especially with a big IP like Star Wars, where they don't just swing their lightsaber and force push. I mean, you know, Vader can, you know, choke somebody, you know, he can pick somebody up. But I mean, you can do so many things.
Yeah, but you also need that variety between the characters, because if you've got, for example, 6 or 7 guys with the Force, we don't want what happened with 1.0 where you've got, you know, all the Toy Story ones throw a ball, or you know, you need that variety to make them feel better, because that's what I love with the Marvel characters. They're all fought so differently.
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that this is something that was brought up with is this thing of the characters, you know, hopefully, you know, I know they've changed the ability of the fighting for tools. So if you've got Rapunzel and you bring up, for example, the Carl's upstick, it will basically work like a lightsaber. So you can reuse the combat for for those kind of weapons have been increased. So as a workaround, so whether or not they've improved the 1.0 characters or not, there seems to be a lot of miscommunication at the minute about how much work has gone back to updating the 1.0 characters, because I think there's, you know, they were saying that they've not been doing as much work on them as maybe we had hoped.
Yeah, my understanding from the live cast that they haven't gone back and improved them at all.
No, which is a huge mistake to me.
It's going to make you feel like there's no point in using them in your game, which is kind of off in my opinion. But who knows? Hopefully the whole integration of
Yeah.
like modifying the tools and the weapons might help out.
The only reason I find it as a thing because I could understand it if those 1 point characters were no longer for sale, no longer being reproduced and retired. I just find that if I was a parent going in picking up Buzz Lightyear and I popped him down and all he could do was a shoulder tackle while Luke Skywalker was doing all those things, and your kid's going, it doesn't do anything. There's nothing wrong with it. The kid, you're still selling that figure brand new at cost, therefore, and you're still putting them on the shelf and trying to sell them to new people in 3.0. There feels like they need to make sure that there's a little bit more of an upgrade, and hopefully the tools and packs will get around it. But people don't really use them. They've never. The amount of questions I've had on YouTube and Twitter about people not knowing how to use tools and packs. Look at when Green Goblin's glider come along, the amount of questions I got about asking how to access it, because people just don't use packs and tools.
Yeah, I'm trying to look back in when I use Green Goblin, how many times I use the glider, and I don't. I really don't. I know how to get the tools and packs out. I just don't use it. I don't.
No, it's a bit kind of. I remember. See, the thing is I remember on 1.0, I used to have Buzz and Lightyear, and I used to have the jetpack and the jumping pack. Not this is kind of pretty much. And I used to be flicking between the two of them that I had saved up to be able to get around toy boxes quicker, which is surprisingly when flying come along, it was amazing. So once I only used them in the first game, literally for jumping and flying, and that was what I did all the time. But I don't think I've used them in 2.0. I've never seen the need to.
Yeah, there really isn't. Yeah.
No. So no, that's the one thing with the combat. I think in general, combat is. I mean, it was a massive improvement to 2.0, and I think we're about to get an even bigger improvement now. Ninja Theory have been working on it, just to combat by the sounds of it. That's all they're doing.
Well, from what I got from Game Informer, it was in 2.0. Ninja Theory was brought in to improve combat, but what they did was they took the existing system that Avalanche had built. Now in 3.0. Ninja Theory was allowed to rip through it, and not to mention make the fighting system better. So now, from now on, anything combat, Avalanche is actually taking what Ninja Theory has created. So it's great. It's a great evolution of this game, and honestly, just shows you the progress as opposed to the stagnant improvement from other games. So.
Well, I think in general, this is the one thing that stood out to me first off is you've got Sumo being brought in to deal with the racing. Ninja Theory are dealing with the combat. You've got I can't remember the people that made Watch Dogs doing a Marvel playset. They're bringing in more teams to deal with stuff because the game is so big and it's got so much potential. They know they've got to put, and as the game's becoming more and more profitable, they can spend more money on it. And I think it's a great way for Disney to, because I think they're looking at it more than just one single game now. It's not just about getting out one brand new game. This is multiple games within one platform. Because the people that might buy the Disney side might not buy the Star Wars, etc. But I think in general, it's a great idea for them to be bringing in different people and experts because they can focus on one thing and get that right. And like we had this again. There was a conversation this week on our Facebook group about the fact that Disney are no longer the new kid on the block. They are that excuse of their new doesn't fly with people the same anymore. People are like, no, I've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on figures and games, and you've been out for 2-3 years. This should be fixed. People's tolerance for things starts dropping, I think, as the years are going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this game needs to be like squeaky clean, like sparkling perfect almost, because it's to the point where one little crash is going to make somebody just go, okay, I'm done with this. It's been too long.
Yeah,
but I'm very worried a little bit for this El Capitan Theater idea because I don't think I've seen or played a video game at all that lets me access YouTube videos. So it's going to be interesting.
I think it would be very limited to specific ones that they want to select. Otherwise, that could be a can of worms.
Oh no, that I know, but I'm just saying, like for them to connect
Yeah,
YouTube to. I mean, unless they upload the video onto their own peripheral, which kind of makes
yeah,
sense. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
yeah. We're apparently going to be able to watch Toybox TV live within the El Capitan. So, well, Toybox TV, not the live version. I just, it's just, like I said, I think I'm hoping now that they've got 2.0. They can take what really worked for there, fix what wasn't working, and keep, if they outsourced the racing, if they outsourced the fighting, and then they've got 3 or 4 different teams working on play sets, and it all comes together to a much stronger game. Because I did feel like 2.0 was such an improvement over 1.0 in the toy box. But I think the play sets was where they missed out. And
Right.
this year they look like they've gone back and gone, right, okay, we need to get that right as well. I think there was way too much development time put on the toy box last year, which made sense. I mean, there was a huge improvement.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that there's still a little unclear. Obviously, what we're getting so far is that there's 5 playsets, but it's been very clear because when they're asked the question about more playsets, they keep saying that there are more power discs and playsets to be announced, or no, more figures and playsets to be announced at a later date. And I think they're still referring to the Marvel and the Force Awakens playsets. But then some people are like, no, they're referring to something else. So
there's a little bit of ambiguity about it, isn't there?
Yeah, but the good thing though is what you're saying. Like, they missed out on playsets. Looks like we have 5 instead of 3 this time, and there's one of at least each property. So
yeah, but I'm even looking at now. It's not even just the 5. You've also got sort of almost 7 because you've got those expansion packs. I think they're a lot more.
You know what? Until they come out, I mean, I still don't see the Toy Box game discs as playsets or equivalents. I mean, I do see them as separate entities. Until these expansion discs, if I get a hands-on, hopefully I'll get a hands-on on E3 of these things, and maybe I can tell you, okay, you know what, we have something good on the way.
Okay. I'm just looking to see and there was a couple of other things that they mentioned during that live Toy Box TV. Because they said about Star Wars Rebels, and they said that would be a good idea. They didn't. I'm kind of going to slide into this idea that we've got Star Wars for years to come. So there's not going to be that rush to get everything out on week 1.
Yeah, and also since season 2 just is about to premiere, not far away from now, I bet you it makes more sense for them to include Rebels in a 4.0 possibly as opposed to 3.0.
Yeah. Another toy which was mentioned was a new music toy which allows you to play music notes, and I think Jose basically said that you can make a toy box or you can have a toy that plays a specific note. So you might be able to make basically you do like a piano. You'd be able to make your own sort of music. It can be very, very limited because you're only going to be literally a note, but you could, have a little bit of the music bit.
Yeah, but maybe it could be where you have your toys like Tom Hanks in the movie Big, and you have toys on the floor where you step on them and you start playing Heart and Soul together. Yeah. So who knows?
It's going to take a lot to do it, but I think this is where the toy box can keep, because if you can take the basics of what 2.0 is, fix what wasn't working properly, and add more toys to it. I almost feel like with 3.0, I think that would be a better option than a massive overhaul. Would be to get it right, get it solid, add a few new toys that are great, but just make it a more solid experience would be a better idea than doing that massive overhaul where I think they almost made 2.0 too big, too quick, and they didn't quite finish it properly.
You know what, too, though, Roger? I'm under the impression, and from what I've been getting from the interviews, I'm getting the impression that they've had more time to work on 3.0, like the other studios and everything. I feel like they've had, especially like Ninja Theory and everything, it almost makes me feel like they've had more time to design the characters and whatnot. And I feel like this game is going to be definitely a lot cleaner and crisper as far as bugs go. So
Yeah,
That's the impression I got from
it's
it.
almost like I'm getting this idea as well, like with this Ninja, because Ninja Theory worked on. They kept saying they only worked on Jasmine, and they delayed Jasmine like a few months. That could have been an initial test to see if they were working on it. But I'm almost now looking at it going, well, have Ninja Theory been working on the combat for 3.0 pretty much since they came on board, because 2.0 was already sort of underway. Like Sumo, we don't know how long they've been working on it. They could have been working on it the whole way through 2.0, in which why we didn't have any, they might have been working on that on that racing stuff for 2 years or 18 months compared to. But I also think in general, like if the Disney to keep going with this annual thing, they need to have this sort of. They need to have teams doing stuff. Otherwise, even like we say, Skylanders, they have 2 different teams making the alternate games. Ubisoft, who make the Assassin's Creed, they have different sections doing it every year or every other year, rather than just doing it, the one team trying to push it out every year.